It's time for Retire Right with Reverse Rob, diving deeper into housing wealth and utilizing a portion of your home's equity as a coordinated strategy in retirement planning. Now here's your host, Senior Retirement Mortgage Specialist at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Rob Kanier.
So today I wanted to talk about the retirement mortgage and how it is helping a new client right now as we speak to purchase a home. So as many of you know from listening to previous shows with me here on Retire Right with Reverse Rob, the retirement mortgage, back then it was called a reverse mortgage. Now we're in the modern era reverse mortgage. We call it a retirement mortgage. Started in 1961, and from 1961 to 1987, it really was not that good. There was a lot of rough edges around it, and then the government got involved. It actually was a good thing, believe it or not, to a certain extent. And in 1988 or 1987, Congress passed a bill. I don't recall what it is, but it created the home equity conversion mortgage in 1988, which is now the FHA insured reverse mortgage that 95% of Americans who have a reverse mortgage have. We're starting to see the pendulum shift a little bit to where we're going away from the FHA product to a certain extent from a volume standpoint. I believe last month or the month prior was the first year in the history of the retirement mortgage where volume actually exceeded the proprietary reverse mortgage volume exceeded that of the FHA version, the home equity conversion mortgage. So we're starting to see more of the proprietary private investor, which is still a very safe, there's nothing different. It's a non-recourse loan. It's safe and secure. And we have a lot of clients utilizing that loan in this day and age here in the year 2026, summer of 2026. So getting back to this individual, he is a widower. He's been a widower for 13 years. He and his wife, I believe it was actually her house originally, was purchased in Scottsdale. It is a 3,000 square foot home on a 15,000 square foot lot with a swimming pool in the backyard. Great for move up home for a growing family, not for a single widow. A lot of maintenance and upkeep, a lot of memories in that home. So it's time for Frank to turn the page and go on to the next chapter of his life with regard to where he's living. So he is looking to, with the help of his realtor and his loan officer, who is a Fairway loan officer who does traditional forward mortgages, referred this client to me about a week ago. So they are listing and selling the existing property, the departure residence, for $950,000. He will net, after paying off the mortgage that he's currently carrying on that home and pay the realtor commissions, he will net about $650,000 from that departure residence. So now he has $650,000 cash in his pocket. And oh, by the way, in his retirement portfolio that was at, I believe, $1 million, that has been spent down to about $90,000 now. That's all that this borrower has left to his name, in addition to the money, the equity from the sale of his current home. So not a very good picture. So rule of thumb or old school thinking or traditional thinking would be, oh, I'm just going to pay cash for my next home and sink all of that money because he wants to buy a new home for $650,000. So we're just going to take all that money and we're going to sink $650,000 of cash into an illiquid asset that we potentially cannot get back out. But we have no mortgage payment and we can afford it because we have our Social Security and pension to cover our property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and HOA. He's lucky enough to be moving into the new home being in a homeowners association. So he'll have those dues, eyeball roll. So he's going to have taxes, insurance, and HOA. There is a much more efficient and safer way to do this. And it's not taking out, which most loan officers would do, is put him into a 30-year fixed mortgage at age 68. So let's just put you into a 30-year fixed mortgage at $2,000 a month for until you're 98 years old and pay over $1 million in interest and potentially have you foreclosed on the loan. And that actually has happened to a client a few years ago in the state of Georgia that was buying a new build, and the loan officer put him into a 30-year fixed mortgage. And then one spouse passed away, income was cut in half, and that surviving spouse ended up having to be foreclosed on because they couldn't afford the payments any longer. So option number one is pay cash, which is not a good idea in most cases. Option number two is to put him into a traditional, what we refer to as forward mortgage, on a 30-year or even worse, 15-year fixed mortgage. And basically all of his Social Security income and pension income coming in for the month is going towards this mortgage payment. And oh, by the way, he doesn't qualify because the mortgage payment's too high based on his income. So we've got all kinds of problems on this. So option number three is where I come into play as a retirement mortgage specialist here at Fairway Home Mortgage, where I can take the new home that he's purchasing that's closer to family, by the way. That's why another reason he's selling and buying this new house. So he's going to buy a new $650,000 home, single family or detached townhome, attached townhome, closer to his family. And he's going to use a reverse for purchase, a retirement mortgage for purchase, which came into vogue in, as I mentioned before, in the year 2009. Yet 95% of financial advisors and real estate agents still do not know about this option. And that's why we teach on this subject every month to real estate agents and certified financial planners for their continuing education. And some of them still say, oh, no, I don't have any clients like that. Yes, you do have clients like that. You need to open your eyes and get your radar up that you have clients like this. And we'll get into that towards the end of the segment today. But with the home equity conversion mortgage or with the retirement mortgage, he will come in with $380,000 down, all in, closing cost, down payment on a $650,000 purchase. And the reverse mortgage or retirement mortgage will be $270,000 on a $650,000 purchase. So we just enhanced his buying power by almost 50%. With this loan, he has optional mortgage payments for the rest of his life until he reaches age 150 years old. Or he passes away, which will probably happen, or he sells the home and transitions into another living situation down the road at age 68. Let's say he's going to be in the house for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. So he's safe. He just has to pay his property taxes to the county, his homeowner's insurance to his insurance agent, and his HOA dues, his homeowners association dues every quarter, every year, every month, however it works out. Sign an occupancy certificate every year that he's living in the home with the retirement mortgage investor, and maintain and upkeep the home like he would if he had a regular mortgage on it or no mortgage on it. And in addition to that, he's going to add $270,000 to his portfolio, which has been spent down to $90,000. So now he has not only the house that he wants to be in with optional mortgage payments for the rest of his life, he has $360,000 in his retirement fund, in addition to his pension to Social Security. That is going to be like night and day from where he's at right now. He's going to be in a smaller home that's going to be much more manageable for him, in a safer location, closer to family, less maintenance and upkeep. Keep in mind that on the departure residence that he's selling, he literally let the backyard go and let the pool, he drained the pool because he didn't have the money to take care of it. He didn't have the money to maintain and take care of the pool in the big house. So we got that problem taken care of. Now he has a community pool. He's going to be around, have a lot more social life with people to go play pickleball with or golf or whatever. More active, happier, closer to the family, which is huge for him. That is a game changer. That is how this loan, the modern era retirement mortgage, is being used in a purchase situation. Now, what else? How does that affect everything else around? I'll tell you, it's a ripple effect, because a lot of first-time home buyers and move-up buyers are struggling to find the house that they want to purchase right now in this market. They're going up against cash offers. They're going up against these, I won't mention any names, these investors that are buying blocks of homes, and then they're sitting on them, or they're, slapping new paint and flooring in them and flipping them for a profit. And they're pricing first-time home buyers and move-up buyers out of the market. But what you have to realize or understand is that according to NAR, the National Association of Realtors, for the year 2025, last year, 48% of home buyers were age 60 and older. 48% of home buyers were age 60 and older last year buying homes. And we're focusing on first-time home buyers and move-up buyers. Nothing wrong with first-time home buyers and move-up buyers. They don't have anywhere to go because the inventory is, the houses out there, as I mentioned before, are not suitable for them, or they're just priced out of the market and they can't afford it. So why not take the senior or the seasoned homeowner who doesn't think that they can move in retirement? They think they're stuck where they're at, and they are stuck, and they are having higher taxes and insurance and HOA dues and inflation, and they're getting priced where they're in a very delicate situation, very precarious situation, where they want to move, but they don't think they can move. And if they knew about this loan option, which hopefully someone listening to this will share, like what Barbara did with Sandy back in 2015 on the first reverse for purchase I did, that, hey, you can sell your existing home and you can downsize to a smaller home without paying cash and without taking on a traditional mortgage and having a mortgage payment for the next 30 years of your life and being just in a different location, a different house, and still broke. Or you can take a portion of that, like we did for this borrower, selling the big house and downsizing, but that freed up his house, the $950,000 house, the 3,000 square foot house with a 15,000 square foot yard for that move up buyer. That listing went on the MLS 3 days ago, and there's already been, last I checked yesterday, 3 offers on his departure residence. So instead of building a bunch of new homes out in the outskirts of town, or building more apartments or high-rise condos, we have inventory to sustain the millennials, the first-time home buyers, the Gen Zers, and the move-up buyers. If we would free up some inventory and show the baby boomers how they could sell their property, buy a new property without having a mortgage payment, and keep money in their pocket. And I didn't even mention the tax advantages that some of them are experiencing with using a retirement mortgage for purchase, because that is referred to as acquisition indebtedness, and that interest is still potentially tax deductible, but you want to check with your CPA on that. And I happen to know the top retirement tax attorney in the nation that can explain that to your CPA or to your financial advisor with my help. I didn't even mention that. In addition to the liability protection, we have clients over the last 11 years. I have closed dozens of retirement mortgage for purchases, and I'm working on a couple, actually 3 or 4 right now, and they're not always downsizing. Sometimes they're right sizing, or what we refer to as smart sizing. And in some cases, they're upsizing. So about 20% of them are actually buying a higher priced home than the home that they're currently in, because they need additional amenities, or they want to have a mother-in-law suite. They have boomerang kids or grandkids that have left the nest and are coming back now because they're realizing in the real world that they don't have enough money to buy their own property, or they can't afford rent. Welcome to reality. So that is how the retirement mortgage, the modern era retirement mortgage for purchase, is coming into vogue. And I can honestly say that the number of referrals we're getting from financial advisors on this option equals or surpasses the amount of referrals that we're getting from actual real estate agents. So certified financial planners are happy because their clients are cash flowing better. And in this case study I shared with you today, this individual is going to be keeping an additional $270,000 in his portfolio so that he's probably going to not have as big of a chance to run out of money before running out of life. So I hope that makes sense. It's a great case study. I see this on a weekly basis. So whether you have someone that is wanting to age in place in their existing property and do a retirement mortgage and eliminate their mortgage or get additional cash out without having a payment, we can help them. And we can also help them if they want to sell the big house that they don't think they can sell because they don't know where they can go because they don't have it. They don't qualify for a regular mortgage, which they shouldn't be doing anyway, by the way. And they don't want to pay cash and sink all that money into an illiquid asset that they can't get back out. They have no money in their retirement or very little. And like in this instance, we can help them to upsize, downsize, smart size in a safe and secure manner. Give me a call. Let's discuss any case study you may have, any situation that may be your very own situation. Let's talk through it, see if it makes sense or not. It's not going to cost you anything other than about 10, 15, 20 minutes on the phone with me so we can strategize and improve your overall retirement situation.
Rob is a senior retirement mortgage specialist at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Feel free to contact Rob with any questions. Subscribe, like, or share so you won't miss an episode. Download and listen to the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again for listening to Retire Right with Reverse Rob.